Welcome to Jackets TV, presented by Ohio Health. I'm Bob McElligott alongside of Jody Shelley, and we are here to preview the Blue Jackets playoff series against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, Jody, when you look at this on the surface, things don't look good for the Blue Jackets. 5 times these teams met during the regular season. The Blue Jackets lost all 5 matchups, but 4 of those 5 games were very close. Sergei Bobrovsky played very limited minutes. He only played in 1 game. That was in Pittsburgh. He got pulled after giving up 3 goals on 13 shots in that game. Then he was injured, or he had the flu in the other one. So these teams have never really matched up with Bobrovsky in true form this year. Pittsburgh Penguins are saying, well, that's okay. We feel pretty confident about it. How do you see this series?
Well, if you look at Pittsburgh, they have had guys out of the lineup all year. Guys have been out of all those games. So I see this series as forget about what's been done. They've learned, obviously, the Columbus Blue Jackets are a young team, the youngest in the NHL, going against a team in Pittsburgh that's a veteran-laden, playoff-experienced team. Sounds like a tall task, but the Jackets have had an opportunity this season to play to their identity. They know how to have success. They have to take that and elevate it by a lot to play against this team. The playoffs are just, everyone has to be excellent, and everyone is going to have to bring another level of playing to this series in order to have any success against Sidney Crosby and his cast of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Let's talk about his cast for just a minute here. It's always Crosby, Malkin. Now, Evgeny Malkin has been out with a hairline fracture in his foot. He has been skating, and he's been ramping up his workouts all week long. Paul Martin missed a large chunk of time coming out of the Olympics. Chris Letang had a stroke and just returned to the lineup for the Penguins. So when you get guys that have missed huge chunks of time, and I know they're some of the best players in the game, I get all of that, but when you put them back in, is there still a period of time where you have to mesh with your teammates once again?
Well, I would say yes, but in this case, I would say no. These guys have been watching their teammates perform pretty well in Pittsburgh without them. So when you have that feeling, you want to be back in there and really feel a part of it right away. So that Malkin and Neal chemistry, that'll probably click right away. I think James Neal is kind of waiting for him to get back. And then the other guys just support. I mean, when you have the greatest player in the world, he really drags you into that fight. So I don't think that will be an issue for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Pittsburgh Penguins are going to miss Pascal Dupuis. They have been missing him all season long. He played on one side of Sidney Crosby. Chris Kuhn has played on the other side. From the time that Dupuis has gone down, they've been kind of searching for another guy to take that spot. But as you just said, Sidney Crosby is the best player in the world, and no matter who you put alongside him, he makes him better.
Well, yeah, and then you look at this team, the Pittsburgh Penguins. They go through the regular season just to kind of get to this week that we're starting right now with the playoffs starting. They are focused on the Stanley Cup, as is every team that's in this situation. But they have a little unique thing going on with Fleury. He hasn't played so well the last 2 seasons in the playoffs. This is where this team and those individuals have to prove themselves. So the Jackets need to get after those little areas and maybe take advantage of some of those guys that are maybe a little bit of doubt in some of their minds.
Yeah, absolutely. Marc-Andre Fleury, don't forget, went to 2 Stanley Cup final, and he won a Stanley Cup. And since then, he has been not the same guy. So he's been great all regular season, but that's really been the MO the last couple of years. Regular season, hands down great. Last year, he lost his job in the playoffs to Thomas Vokoun. And as you said, this is a whole new season because everybody's given him a pass all year long. Now all of a sudden they're saying, the time is now, Marc-Andre.
Yeah, and he, like you said, he's had a great season. And it's funny, Pittsburgh has had one of their best seasons as far as getting points, as far as where they're sitting in the standings. They don't care about that. And I like the Jackets have kind of taken that approach, too. We saw them clinch the playoffs in Dallas the other night. That was 4 or 5 nights ago. They're still businesslike. There's going to be a lot of excitement going into Pittsburgh in the Consol Energy Center this week.
All right, let's talk about the Blue Jackets and specifically how they match up against the Penguins. Ryan Johansson obviously is going to get a great dose of the best defense, forwards, and defensemen that the Pittsburgh Penguins have to offer. I would assume that they're figuring if we can shut down Ryan Johansson, we've got a great chance to win this series, which really does put the focus on guys like Brandon Dubinsky, Cam Atkinson, Matt Calvert, Artem Anisimov to step to the forefront.
Well, yeah, and there's 7 15-goal scorers on this Blue Jacket roster, so there's a good supporting cast. The focus will be on Ryan Johansson and what he can bring, but then the other guys need to step up. Everybody needs to step up, including Sergei Bobrovsky, all the defense, everybody that's involved in this series on the ice needs to bring an elevated game. You know, you get in these situations and these matchups are going to come, but the supporting cast, the 4th line, the 3rd line, chip in on the scoreboard, and that'll help.
Well, the Blue Jackets are going to be without Nathan Horton in this series, probably without R.J. Umberger. Nick Foligno is a question mark right now. Those three guys being out of the lineup, how much does that affect this team?
Well, it affects it in playoff-wise, and you start with Horton. He's a guy that's got the most playoff experience, obviously, on this Blue Jackets team in games played and game situations. He was at the Stanley Cup Finals last year, and oh yeah, he won a Stanley Cup. But he'll be around his guys. He'll be helping his teammates in situations, questions, when things come up. They'll miss him for sure. And the veteran presence, obviously, of what Foligno brings in puck possession. And Umberger is a veteran who's been with the Columbus Blue Jackets for a long time.
You know, in reading some of the things that have been written in the Pittsburgh papers already, they're looking and saying, well, Ryan Johansson's playing with Boone Jenner and Jack Skilly at the end of the season. They're writing this off. They're basically saying, hey, the Penguins just have to show up and they win the series. The Blue Jackets don't feel that way. And talking with Cam Atkinson and Ryan Johansson after that win in Florida the other night, they said, we're happy. We're happy we get to play against the Penguins because we feel that we match up well against them and that we can show people something.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's the attitude they have to have. They've got no respect as far as playoff hockey. They've only had one series in a 4-game sweep for the Columbus Blue Jackets. These young guys know that, but they have youth on their advantage, I think. Youth is in their corner. They have that little bit of, they don't really know and they don't really care. They're just going to go out there and play hockey as units. They've had fun all year. They've had success having fun and working hard, and we've been around it. It's been great. But this level of excitement, the intensity that's going to be there, the first 10 minutes of Game 1, this group is going to learn a lot in that first 10 minutes, and I'm excited for them. I think it matches up for a great series.
Now, the Penguins coach Dan Bilesma will say that there is not much different in the structure of these two teams and that he took a lot of things from Todd Richards when they worked together in Wilkes-Barre in the Penguins system. So they're very similar in style. Of course, they're not similar in personnel. The Penguins can throw a Crosby and a Malkin and a Neal and a Kunitz at you, and the Blue Jackets are more blue-collar when it comes to that. However, the Penguins try to get the Blue Jackets sucked into that run-and-gun game every once in a while. We've seen that all season long. How successful can the Blue Jackets be if they stay with that tight-checking game that they're so good at?
Well, they have to, and that's their identity, and that's their chance to frustrate the Penguins. Physical, that identity, that 5-man group, win as a group, be in the playoffs as a group. That's how they got to do it. That's the leadership on this team is. They do it by committee, so they understand that. And I like that you said to Bilesma, the players and the coaches have respect for this Blue Jackets team, and you'll hear those quotes all week. The media, on the other hand, they'll sell this down the river, but you'll hear respect coming out of the other room. The Jackets have earned a little bit, but they're going to earn a lot more in this series, and they got to start on Wednesday, and especially that first 10 minutes.
The Blue Jackets power play, which has been hot and cold, and really more cold down the stretch than it was hot, it's got to come to life in this playoff series if they want to have a great chance.
And what you're talking about is opportunities. Power play is an opportunity to have an advantage out there. They have to take advantage of those opportunities and limit the Pittsburgh opportunities. They're going to score goals. They're going to get power plays. They're going to get opportunities. But when you have yours, Columbus Blue Jackets, you have to take it to Fleury and get at them. You have to limit those in your net, and Sergei will do that, or take a lot of that workload.
All right, let's just wrap it up with me asking you one more question. You mentioned the Blue Jackets. They're very loose. They've had fun all year. They have to take that same approach into the playoffs. They can't get complacent. They can't be having too much fun. They've got to be very diligent about their duties in this series, no question. The Pittsburgh Penguins, they know in the back of their minds, if they were to lose this first-round playoff series to the Columbus Blue Jackets, there could be massive changes in their organization. They might have new direction behind the bench. They might have a goaltender that doesn't get an extension, that they might just start to look in a new direction there. They all know that. They all know that there's a lot of pressure. And with that lurking pressure, how much could that play into the series?
You have to create pressure, and that's the Blue Jackets' job. That is where it is. Right now, yeah, there's a little pressure, but put a lot more on them with the way they play. They have an identity. It's loose. We say that they're loose, but they're not. They're business-like, too. They have a very workman-like approach, and that scares some teams because you know what? You have to bring it every shift, every night against the Columbus Blue Jackets, and really, in a playoff series, that's what it comes down to is every shift. Who made that mistake on that shift that cost us the game? You don't want to be that guy, and that's the pressure for the Jackets. Now, you talked about the pressure for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Whoa, that's a lot bigger, but you have to make that pressure tighter and tighter and tighter with every shift, every period, every victory, and then use that in your advantage.
All right, it all gets underway on Wednesday night at 7:30 at the Consol Energy Center in Pittsburgh. Game 2 is going to be on Saturday night at 7 in Pittsburgh, and then the Blue Jackets will be back at Nationwide Arena for Games 3 and 4. That's going to be on Monday and Wednesday of next week. Should really work out to be a great series between these two teams. We talked all summer when the Blue Jackets went to the Eastern Conference, who will the rival be? And Pittsburgh is the geographical rival. They could be a real rival by the time the series is over.
Well, they say rivalries aren't really started until the playoffs. I don't know. I'll accept that, but listen, This is a huge rival. We see all the Pittsburgh fans here in the last couple games when they played in our building. That just creates a little madness for not only the fans, but the players.
All right, that is your preview for the Blue Jackets and the Penguins in the first round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. For Jody Shelley, I'm Bob McElligott. Thanks for watching Jackets TV, presented by Ohio Health.